Yep, this rocket engine is unlike any other rocket you've ever seen. And here's one of the reasons.
This white powder can burn almost anything.
You can pretty much mix anything with it and it will burn like rocket fuel. I mean anything. This can literally burn metal, which in normal circumstances won't really burn at all. But once it's mixed with this magic powder, it becomes rocket fuel. This has been used many times by NASA to build gigantic rocket boosters because rockets burn stuff, and to burn stuff you need oxygen. So NASA engineers quickly realized that if they mixed this great source of oxygen with a dense fuel like powdered aluminium, they would get insane amounts of power. The only problem is you can't control it. Those big rockets are essentially skyscraper-sized firecrackers. Once they start going, you can't stop them.
So, in one hand, we have a super powerful rocket that has less plumbing and it's easier to build. But on the other, we have no way of controlling it. And you know what? I think I can fix this hand.
This video was brought to you by OnShape.
So, how did I get my hands on this NASA-grade high-performance magic powder? Well, it's actually a pretty interesting story.
About 2 years ago, before I knew I couldn't buy this, I tried to buy it from all the online stores I could find, and things would go pretty much the same way every single time. They would ask me if I had a license, I would say no, and that would be the end of the conversation. Except some weeks later I got a package in the mail, and it was a new phone. I didn't order a new phone, but the invoice clearly had my name on it, and the item was described as a smartphone. When I opened the package, this bag was in there.
This is not a phone. I don't know if you noticed. This is ammonium perchlorate, and the reason why I'm telling you all of this is because, well, in the meantime I lost the invoice, so I have no idea who sent me this, which means I can't get more, which also means that I have to test my idea using just this amount. My idea, right, that's what I'm supposed to be talking about.
The reason you can't control combustion in a solid rocket engine, it's because to make the rocket, you mix both the fuel and oxidizer and then cast it into the engine. Once those two things are mixed, there's no turning back. Anything hot enough that touches it makes it go off. My idea is, what if you don't mix them right away? There's this type of rocket engine called hybrid rocket engine, where you have a solid fuel and then use a gaseous or liquid source of oxygen to burn that fuel. They only really mix once you inject the oxidizer into the combustion chamber, and because of that, it's much safer, you can control it, and you can stop it if you need to. Here's the thing, hybrid rocket engines are trash. They're all wrong. I mean, if you look at the combustion of anything, you know you need more oxygen than fuel. So call me stupid, but wouldn't it make more sense for the solid denser part to be the oxidizer? I propose that we invert things and cast the solid oxidizer into the combustion chamber and then use some kind of gaseous fuel, I don't know, like propane? I have a lot of it, to be burnt, and in theory, if I'm able to control the amount of propane being injected, I can control the thrust of the rocket. Genius, right? Don't forget to subscribe. Like I said before, I don't have a lot of AP, so for the first test I'm going to use potassium nitrate to see if this thing can even work. It's not as good, it's like a lower grade version, but it's super cheap and easy to get, and for a proof of concept, it should be good enough. What I'm doing now is grinding the potassium nitrate into a fine powder, so I can mix it with water, make a slurry, and then cast it into le combustion chamber. I guess I'm not drinking coffee anytime soon. Okay, seems to be good. Look at that, not bad at all. Right, now I'm gonna put this in the oven at 115 degrees Celsius for about 40 minutes, and that should be enough to evaporate all the water. Okay, I would say this was a success, but the interior texture looks like a stomach lining, which is a bit weird. I guess I put too much water in the mixture. Well, let's test it anyway. To do said testing, I need an injector, and for that purpose I'm using my CNC machines, which are basically machines that cut material until I get the shape that I want, like a reverse 3D printer. You guys are always asking me which machines do I use, so here they are, my ladies. They are made by a company called Makera. This one is the Carvera, and the other one is the Carvera Air. I've had the Carvera for about 2 years, and I love it. The Carvera Air, it's the budget-friendly option, it's half of the price, so I would recommend it as a great entry-level CNC machine. I'll leave a link in the description. Oi! The parts are ready. Why is the last one always the hardest one? Do you see? It's getting wider, which means I think it's working.
Oh, come on. What? What sound was that? Did you see that puddle down there that looks like molten sugar? That's because potassium nitrate doesn't really burn very cleanly. It releases a lot of solid debris. Oop, it's coming out. Jesus. Did you see that? Look at that. The puddle basically settled in the bottom, and that's the reason why it wasn't working. Well, it was literally plugging the injector. Yeah, it didn't work with this. Well, I'm pretty sure it's gonna work with the AP because AP burns pretty cleanly. I mean, in the sense that it doesn't form solids. The gases are actually pretty toxic, but should work. Okay, it's time to use the magic powder. As you can see, the bag is not full because, well, this is not the first time I'm using this. I got this 2 years ago. I did some shenanigans with it, but I have this left, so this needs to be enough. So I'm gonna be very careful. Let's ground it up first. This one doesn't have the consistency of cement. It's more like, I don't know, butter? It's weird. Not easy to do this. Okay, much less bubbles this time. Looks pretty nice. It's time for the moment of truth. A little bit of air. Oh, it's turning blue. Let me turn off the air. Look, no air. Oh, Jesus. That is a hot flame. That is scary. It works. Look at this. It burned everything. There's a little bit of rust, but otherwise, I call this a success. I am the master of fire. I burn all the things.
Master of Fire!
Okay. Now that I know the concept works, what I need is the thing that makes a rocket, a nozzle. But a well-dimensioned one, because just like my crazy neighbor that used to smoke cigarettes while throwing fireworks used to say, the only thing that separates a bomb from a rocket is a well-dimensioned hole. Sometimes you learn valuable lessons from the people you less expect. I'm machining said hole right now, and that's exactly what it is, just a hole. If this works decently, I'll find a way to get a proper nozzle with the recognizable expansion cone. But even to machine or 3D print such a simple nozzle, you're gonna need a 3D model. And to get the 3D model, you need a proper designing tool.
Sponsor time.
To do all my designing, I use an app called Onshape. It's a browser app, and because of that I didn't have to download anything. I can use it anywhere I have Wi-Fi, and also never crashes and always saves my progress. I've been using Onshape for a long time now, and because of that I can tell you with 100% certainty that it doesn't really matter if you're a NASA engineer or a basement engineer. It's a great tool to design and share those designs in real time. If you're an engineer, any kind of engineer, definitely check out Onshape. You can get up to 6 months of the pro version for free through my link in la description. You're welcome. It's time to shine, baby doll. Okay, maybe I'm not the master of fire. Yet. So the engine worked poorly. And I think I realize now the reason why. So I'm using compressed air to push the propane in. Firstly because it helps me get the combustion started, but also because propane doesn't really have a lot of pressure on its own.
If I use only the propane can, I can risk something called backflow, in which the pressure in the combustion chamber is higher than the injector pressure, and all those gases flow into the propane can. I don't really need to tell you what happens next. The problem is, right now, the air pressure is higher than the propane pressure, so the air itself is pushing the propane the wrong way, with less catastrophic results, of course. The solution is to find a way to make an increase in compressed air corresponded with an equivalent increase in fuel. But first, let's get a proper nozzle, because this one is not great. As per usual, I used Onshape to design a beautiful Duval nozzle with the expansion cone and everything. Now all I have to do is upload it to GLC 3DP, which is this online service that 3D prints parts in metal, set the material as stainless steel, and pay about $10.
$10 for a proper stainless steel rocket nozzle. Where were these guys when I was trying to 3D print rockets out of plastic? GLC 3D printing starts at 3 cents, but if you're spending up to $70, use this magic link here. You'll get a new user coupon. You're also helping me, so thank you. Anyway, this nozzle is going to take about 1 week to get printed and get here, so in the meantime, I want to test an idea.
So, after making the slurry to put in the rocket, I got a bit of leftover AP that dried out, and me being me, I decided to get rid of it by burning it. I put a bit of isopropyl alcohol in the dried out piece of AP, and it really burns well without leaving any residue. But for some reason, I was smelling propane after it burned. Trust me, I know the smell very well.
And look, isopropyl alcohol, also known as isopropanol, is basically just propane with another oxygen in it, which means that the thing that I use to clean up my 3D printed parts, it's a better fuel than the fuel that I'm using. Have you ever heard about the Venturi effect?
The Venturi effect is basically when a liquid or gas is forced to go through a restriction because the fluid speeds up and our universe is obsessed with balance, its pressure needs to go down. If the pressure goes down enough, you can use that effect to suck up another fluid and spray it.
Do you see where I'm going with this? I could totally use the Venturi effect to build a new alcohol injector for my Roquetto.
No, I can't. So, I got excited and I 3D printed a resin part, just like you see in the Venturi diagrams online, and it doesn't work. I mean, it does work, but only for a very low pressure. So I went online to figure this out, as you do, and I saw people doing this Venturi effect demo with an air gun, and it works perfectly, which begs the question, why?
The why to this question, as everything in life, involves rocket nozzles. So, do you remember how the nozzle that I ordered had this cone shape at the end? That is so the high pressure gases that come out of the restriction can expand and we get extra boost. Do you notice how I said high pressure gases and not low pressure? That is because there's no low pressure gases coming out of the hole. There's lower pressure gases, but not sucking pressure. That's not how you get a vacuum. The Venturi effect is a lie.
Okay, the Venturi effect is not a lie, but I don't think it explains why the air gun demo is working. You see, I found this app through Onshape called SimScale. It lets you do fluid simulations. I 3D model my air gun and the tube that I'm using, and I set up the pressures to be exactly like my little experiment.
Do you see any low pressure gases here? I don't think so. And I'm aware that an idiot like me with an air gun is not going to challenge the laws of physics. But also, I don't think the Venturi effect is what's causing the sucking.
What I think is happening, and this is just conjecture on my part, is because the air is going so fast, it smashes against the tube, flies over it, and smacks the hell out of the air molecules above it. Because the air above the tube got slapped and flew away, there's now a deficit of air in that spot, aka a partial vacuum. That vacuum is essentially emptiness that wants to be filled, so it pulls everything around it into it, which eventually is the alcohol in the bottle. Knowing this new piece of information, I designed and 3D printed a new injector, and it works perfectly. Oh yeah, the Master of Fire is back. The reason why it works so well, it's because I used my new favorite tool to simulate the design and fine-tune it to perfection. Now, witness my design, because it's beautiful. The air comes through the center, and because it's going above the legal speed limit, it can't easily stop, and just like with the air gun, the air around gets dragged along like a hitchhiker. What creates a low-pressure zone? This zone sucks hard, what pulls in alcohol very easily. But wait, because I haven't told you the best part. Because I angle the alcohol inlet, the isopropyl alcohol creates a spiral that swirls like a figure skater to better mix with its partner, being its partner the air. You see, magenta plus blue gives a very flammable purple. Just a tiny caveat here, this injector spray has a cone shape, but my combustion chamber is a cylinder. As you can imagine, this is problematic, so I machined a new injector in brass that uses 6 smaller injector nozzles that better approximate my tube-shaped combustion chamber. Well, it's tube-shaped because it's literally a steel tube that I cut using my angle grinder.
Luca decided to show his cone-shaped face. It's your boy, the one and only stainless steel $10 nozzle.
So to keep with tradition, I forgot to turn on the microphone for the first test. Sorry about that. As you can see, I had to use a birthday sparkler to ignite the engine. My light bulb ignition doesn't really like to get wet. As you can see, the engine works pretty well, but it's not easy to throttle. The reason being that even if I can adjust the amount of alcohol going into the engine, I can't really adjust the nozzle. I mean, it's a solid steel part. I can't change its shape. I'm not a Jedi. This created spikes in the engine pressure that transformed my rocket into a pulse jet engine. Yeah, the pulse jet thing that is going on right now is not very cool. It's a bit annoying. And in normal circumstances, this would be the end of the story. Except, I lied to you. When I noticed the nozzle only costed $10, I couldn't resist to order more. And what I ordered was an Aerospike nozzle, the better looking cousin of the Delaval nozzle that is also better at adapting to different pressures. Long live the Aerospike. Sorry I lied to you. My goal was never to betray, only to surprise. But anyway, let's bygones be bygones and test this spiky boy. Let's see if it can perform. The Aerospike did much better, but also started farting after some tests. Unfortunately, I ran out of new foam, so that's the end of the fun. For now. I might no longer have a new phone, but what I have is a new goal. I mean, now I have a way to get metal 3D printed parts, I have 2 CNC machines, and I have a simulation software. I can do anything I want, and I'm going after the pinnacle of rocketry, the liquid rocket engine. Embark with me in this journey. It will be a treacherous path, but by the time I'm done, NASA will be begging to kiss my smelly feet. Long live the rocket engine, and death to all tomatoes. I'll see you soon. Very soon.